Hi, Dan here. Hope you're doing really well. This is a part 2 to a lesson I did last week on I Will Survive, and loads of amazing things that you can do over that. And that looks like it's going to be the most popular video I've ever done, actually, so make sure you check that one out first. And I meant to go through modes in that video, but it was getting a bit too long, so I'm doing a separate one on this. And it's not just about this song. I'm going to go into some different styles. And actually, I've got to hold back a bit here because there's a potential to really go down the rabbit hole here. There's so much that I can show you. So I'm going to try and keep it as succinct if I can. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below. So I'm going to go straight in. So as you heard at the beginning, I was just doing a mode that exists over each of the chords in this piece of music. So we're in the key of A natural minor. The word mode and scale can be used interchangeably, and A natural minor is in fact a mode. It's called the Aeolian mode. So let's just go through all the modes that you get on the chords in this key. The 4 chord, we've got a D Dorian. Over the G7, we've got a Mixolydian, G Mixolydian. If you don't know anything about modes, you might have seen the A natural minor scale. And this next one, the major scale. C major, that's called the Ionian mode, C Ionian. Then we've got F Lydian. B Locrian. Final one, E Phrygian dominant. Don't worry about the weird names, they're all Greek modes. And then we're back to that one. And this is what I mean. I can show you, I could do a video that lasts a day and show you so much, but I want to try and be concise here and show you some things, little exercises that you can do. So maybe the first thing to do would be to get your head around modes is just to, I'll put a PDF below, a link to the PDF with all those shapes on it. And the first thing to do would just be to play them through. And if you do that, it will sound like an exercise. You're not really making something that sounds like a bass line by doing that. But here's quite a good way, I think, to try and explain this. If we go to the 1 chord, you can do this on any chord, but let's demonstrate this on the 1 chord, the A natural minor. That is the notes of the scale. Those are the notes of the scale. If you take the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th from those notes, play them separately. That's the 1st. That's the 3rd. That's the 5th. You've got a triad, an A minor triad in this case. If I add an octave, we've got an arpeggio. If I add the 7th in, we've got a 7th arpeggio. You can do this on any of those modes I did. Get a triad, an arpeggio, and a minor or a 7th arpeggio. Now this is all information, but what do you do with this? Let's do triads. I'm going to go really simple. I might actually even change the style. Let's do like a reggae type thing. So just to get used to what you can do over this, again, that sounds a little bit prescriptive. I'm just doing one thing. And when you really play a bass line with ultimate freedom, you'll find that you'll do a mixture of things. Let's go even simpler. Let's do... No, I'll tell you what we'll do. Yeah, let's do that. So all I'm doing now is just a simple groove. That's just the root. And then the first 3 notes of the scale in reverse, descending, but also up the octave. So when you go up the octave, all you do is you get the pattern and then you just move 2 frets across, 2 strings down, and you've got, so really make sure you know that. This can expand your fretboard a little bit. So root, and then down the 3 notes of the scale going up the octave. Here, when you get to the B minor 7 flat 5 or B half diminished, I was relying on patterns before. The first two patterns were both minor, so I could do the same pattern. Equally on the C and the F, same pattern. G, sorry, and C. And F, all of those, same pattern. But here, this is a bit of a special case, this one, the B minor 7 flat 5, as is the E dominant. That's the only mode that doesn't come from the key, by the way. This is the 5 chord, and in order to give it a really strong pull back to the 1 again, we need a dominant chord. The mode that would come from this is a Phrygian mode, which gives you a flat third. So what music does is it borrows from the harmonic A harmonic minor scale, and we get this slightly strange, lovely sounding Phrygian dominant. Okay. And it leads you very nicely to the beginning. So you could literally just play the modes. Just almost like an exercise, in order to just get your fingers and your ears and your brain around the new shapes and the new patterns. Why I like I Will Survive, it's also Fly Me to the Moon, by the way, it's the same chord progression. Why I like this is because it gives you an opportunity to play over a lot of different chord changes. But what we could do here is we could just take any of these chords and these modes and isolate them. So for example, what if I took the D minor and the G7? That's a very common chord progression. It's a 2-5 in the key of C. So let's do that. So I'm going to go, it's Dorian basically to Mixolydian. I'm going to move it to here. So you've got a Dorian mode, D Dorian, to G Mixolydian. Again, if I play it like that, it sounds a little bit like I'm doing exercise, but let's do. I'm not playing with any other instruments, but you can hear the sort of vibe I'm going for here. What was I doing? So I'm going D, sliding to the 5th and then the octave. And that's the notes, the first 3 notes of the scale, just descending up the octave. Very simple. I don't have to use all the notes. Just because they are there, it doesn't mean I have to use them all. That's quite a good point, because before I was sort of trying to get everything in to show you that it works. But that's not to say that the simplest thing won't be the best thing, because often it is. So on the G, I'm on the G now. Root 5th. And then I'm going fret 9 to 10. That's the major 6th to the flat 7. Just the notes of that Mixolydian mode there. I'm using some vibrato, some hammer-ons, pull-offs, articulations. You will find that if you do that, you add some feel to this via those techniques, and you think of a style and you think of some rhythms. Those are the elements that you will use to take the theoretical knowledge I've given you of modes and triads and arpeggios and sort of bring those to life. That's how you do it. I think that the bottom line here is that to understand chord progressions is going to be really beneficial to you. And the fact that you can go either way here. A scale gives you a chord or if you're seeing chords come from scales, you need to understand that relationship really well. Because ultimately, if you understand the notes that you can play over any different chord, then you're really in business. What I was showing you just before then was knowing that information but not using it all. I was using very, very few notes. But the fact is that you have the options to play whatever you like. I remember when I was first getting into this, it was like modes were a bit of a theory in general, was a bit of a brick wall to me. I didn't like it because I didn't understand it. So I would do really, really simple stuff, just roots and octaves, and that was great, got me by. But there came to a point where I just needed a little bit more. And so I just studied this and studied it until it clicked, and it didn't take that long. One of the reasons that it happened was because I was playing in bands where there were lots of modes going on. And also I was listening to music that tuned my ear into this. And once I got it, So What was by Miles Davis was a good tune to learn the Dorian mode. I've got a lesson on that. I'll put a link. Once I started to incorporate this into my playing, I do a lot of recording online behind me. This is my studio here. And I use these ideas all the time. Look, there's a 2/5 in the key of C, so that's your Dorian to Mixolydian. And I just know that. It happens all the time. That's what I want for you. I want you to gradually understand this and be able to use this. I hope that you got something from this lesson. Make sure that you do watch that other one. So these two lessons sort of combined will give you years and years of practice and information that you can use. If you do have any questions, let me know. I may even expand this even more because there are going to be other things that you can do over these chords. So any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. Do subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one.